An inquiry into Public Protector Mkhwebane's fitness to hold office is one step closer to reality. Yesterday, the National Assembly's Rules Committee adopted those rules for the removal of the heads of Chapter 9 institutions. Now, the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution believes that Mkhwebane has overstayed her welcome. The Council's Lawson Naidu joins us now via Skype. Mr. Naidu, thank you very much for your time. Talk to us about what some of these rules, these draft rules, say exactly.
Good morning, Collie, and to the viewers. The Rules Subcommittee of the National Assembly has now agreed upon a set of rules for the removal of the head of a Chapter 9 or commissioners occupying positions in Chapter 9 institutions. And we know from the Constitution that there are only 3 grounds for the removal of such a person, and that is misconduct, incapacity, or incompetence. And the Rules Committee has now clarified these issues and set in place a process for the removal of such a head. That would now involve the Speaker initially referring the matter to an external panel of 3 people who will determine whether there's a prima facie case to be answered on any of those 3 grounds. And that panel could include a judge, so it's 3 people from outside of Parliament, and they would have to make a report back to the Speaker within 30 days. So they're given quite a strict time frame to conduct that initial investigation. If they propose that the matter be taken further, a subcommittee of the National Assembly is then established to conduct a formal hearing into the matter, including calling for public submissions and possibly public hearings before making a recommendation to the House for the removal of such a person.
Mr. Naidu, is there still appetite for the removal of Busisiwe Mkhwebane based on your assessment?
Well, I think that's...
And let's remember that the ANC is going to be key in this, particularly given the divisions within this party.
Indeed. I mean, I think that's a matter that will now come before the Justice Committee, probably early in the new year, because these rules that were passed by the Rules Committee yesterday will still need to be adopted formally by the National Assembly, which is likely to happen early next week before the House adjourns for the end-of-year recess. So the matter will only come before the Justice Committee next year, or the Speaker will only be able to institute the panel early next year before that preliminary investigation is conducted. It would obviously then be subject to the second stage, which is an ad hoc committee. And, that will be weighted in favor of the ANC as committees are, with 6 members from the ANC and 5 from opposition parties. So there will be an ANC majority on that committee. But I think that given some of the discussions that have taken place earlier this year in that Justice Committee, I think there might well be an appetite for the removal of Advocate Mkhwebane, given that members have voiced their concerns about her conduct and about judgments against her in some cases that have gone before the courts.
Now, Mkhwebane has expressed in no uncertain terms that she is steadfastly against this. In fact, she even blamed the Speaker at one point for allowing her to be treated in a not-so-nice manner. Do you anticipate some action against this from her side, particularly court action?
Well, I think now that a clear process has been put in place for the removal that is a fair and reasonable process, I think Advocate Mkhwebane will not be able to challenge it on a procedural grounds as she threatened to do so before. She would now have to appear before the committee or to make submissions before that committee to counter the arguments against her, the allegations of misconduct and so on. And she will have that opportunity. And once that process is concluded, depending on what the National Assembly decides, she may well take the matter on review at the end of the process, but I don't think that she will be able to institute any legal action in the interim.
Right. Thank you very much for your inputs there. That was KSAC's Executive Secretary, Lawson Naidu.